Hello and welcome TTM fans, I'm your host King05 and today in my summer showdown run. I'll just get right into it. This is the team I drafted, Mega Gallade round 1, because it's a nice win con that I wanted to use. 165 attack, 110 speed, and then a nice special defense stat at its main draws, along with a pretty nice move pool, but like Sword Stance bulk up. It's got Wisp, I didn't use that, but it's a cool set nonetheless. Poison Jet for fairies is very useful coverage, close combat or drain punch depending on what you want. Nice Pokemon. Hits knockoff for like psychics. Yeah, so Mega Gallade. I got this because I was pick 4 and Lanoti, Coco, and Steela all got picked before I got to pick, obviously because they're top 3. And so I decided to go with like a nice Mega. And so Mega Gallade, because I knew I'd probably be able to get Weavile, and Weavile plus Mega Gallade is a really nice core I wanted to use, and Weavile, that's my round 2 pick. Pretty nice offensive mon, cleaner. Can really pursuit trap some stuff for Mega Gallade to sweep. Pretty nice choice band user for Breaker, Life Orb cleaner. Sword Stance I did burn a few times, I don't think I ever actually clicked Sword Stance. But anyways, it's a nice threat. Stab knockoff is nice, Ice Stab with Ice Shard is a nice priority. Prevents me from losing to things like Garchomp and like Skyguard. Yeah, just stuff like that. Ferrothorn here because, classic Elfire draft. Gotta have a Ferrothorn. Just nice mon, gives me spikes. And like you'll see over here, spikes plus gliscor is a very common thing, and it's very good. Spikes also helps Gallade and Weavile to kind of break through things. Gives me a nice reliable stealth rocker, nice water resist, all sorts of things. Just a good one. Next up is Manaphy, because I really wanted to use Manaphy, and I made it my Z-Mon because Z-Manaphy is broken. Anyways, base 100 across the board, really nice setup opportunity, Tail Glow, just like it breaks any fat team, and like Weavile dismantles any offensive team, so between the two I've got pretty much all my bases covered in terms of like dealing with teams. Next up is Gliscor, which is going to be my ground type, my ground immunity. It's just a nice Pokemon with the poison heal. It's like double leftovers, another stealth rocker, a defogger, gives me U-turn momentum, which is nice. Sword Stance Taunt, all great sets on Gliscor. You can run the Toxic set, which I did run. And yeah, just a nice blue Pokemon. Like, it handles a lot of things that the rest of my team doesn't. Just generally soaks up status moves. Yeah, that sort of thing. Next up is Rotom Heat, because, it gives me another ground immunity that isn't 4 times weak to ice. So, like things like Mamoswine are forced to run Stone Edge, and if you're running Stone Edge, it's really hard to fit all of your move slots in there. Like, you want Superpower for Ferrothorn and it would be Wiki. You want Stone Edge for this, you want Earthquake, you want Ice Cream Crash, and you want Ice Shard. So you can't have all of those, and like in many cases it also wants Stealth Rock. So you can't have 6 moves on Mamoswine, so this is a nice thing to help mitigate that. The Rotom Heat is a pretty nice Pokemon. It made finals in March Madness with II using it, so obviously it has some merit. Electric Fire is a nice niche typing on this sort of team, as it's a nice flying resist, as my steel type does not resist flying. I did feel like that was a nice thing to have. Being a fire type, it is resisting fire itself, so between this and Manaphy I have 2 fire resists, which is helpful for my Ferrothorn. It's an ice resist for Gliscor. Just nice defensive utility as well as offensive. It's an offensive threat to a lot of teams. Fire and electric is pretty nice coverage, especially if you pair it with Hidden Power Ice. That snipes most resists to the dual stab, like for example Garchomp. This stat spread, like 50 HP, is kind of mediocre. Like you could call it even bad, but the defenses kind of make up for it, and special attack is 105, it's pretty nice. Next up is Licky Licky, which is a nice fat Pokemon. Fun fact, I did not bring this at all in all of my pools games. But yeah, it's just a nice wish passer for Ferrothorn, Manaphy, Rotom, and Granville, all of which really appreciate the wishes being passed. It has a lot of coverage being a normal type, as well as a nice ability in Oblivious, which means I'm immune to Taunt. Gives me a perfect Tapu Fini switch in, which I already have Ferrothorn, but Fini can obviously run Hidden Power Fire. So Licky Licky is a nice stop to that. Can't get taunted. Yeah. Next up is Granville, because I wanted the Fairy type, as well as Intimidate is always nice to have. It's my Mega Lopunny check, because I expect there to be lots of Mega Lopunnies, and Granville is one of the best low-tier Lopunny checks in the game. With Intimidate, Play Rough, it's taking like 30 max from return, and they're forced to run Jolly because of my weavile. And I guess if they wanted to be like ballsy, they could run Adamant, because I'd probably click Ice Shard anyways on it. But anyways, Granville is here to check physical attackers, physical dragon types. Like, this thing can check Zygarde pretty easily, as long as it doesn't get chipped too low. And like, if it's a banded Zygarde, then it's not Dragon Lance, and if it's Dragon Lance, it's not doing anything initially to Granville. So I kind of have both of those things covered with that. Anyways, a few problems with the team, along with a few things I like, I guess I'll go over that. One problem is that Rotom is really the only viable Scarfer. That's just one thing that I noticed after doing my run. As well as I am kind of weak to Stealth Rocks, being Weavile and Rotom, which are coming to most games, and having Rocks up is kind of annoying because I only have these two defoggers, Gliscor and Rotom, and more than often Gliscor is going to want to run things other than defog, and so is Rotom. So it's just kind of awkward to fit defog on this team, as well as I do have Ferrothorn plus Gliscor for Rocks and Spikes, but it is kind of awkward running Stealth Rock Gliscor plus Spikes Ferrothorn, because Gliscor has so many things that it wants to run, like Earthquake, Knockoff, SD Roost, Ice Fang, Taunt, Toxic, that sort of thing. Defog is kind of like, or not defog, but Stealth Rock is not really super high up on Gliscor's best sets. And Ferrothorn, if I want to run Spikes plus Stealth Rock, I can run Double Hazard, which loses out on coverage or like a status move. That could be really useful. So overall, this team is a little bit clunky, as in like hazards and hazard removal and speed control. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid team. The Mega Gallade plus Weavile plus Manaphy is like super threatening to every team from an offensive standpoint. Rotom can kind of like one-hit KO's entire rosters, which you'll see in a little bit. But yeah, that's my draft. Let's get into the pools. Round 1 pools. So you can see the matchups on the screen here. That's me, Z Manaphy. We're gonna go over Clutch sometimes first. So let me bring up the team that I built for him. Alright, so this is it. Bring up the matchup. He has a Zygarde 50%. So my checks to Zygarde in this game is going to be my Granville, which is leftovers defensive with a lot of attack, so I can still beat Coil sets, as well as Weavile. Weavile has Ice Shard to check it. His only way of mitigating that is Extreme Speed, which I do tank, unless he's like +2, which I should be able to intimidate him down. Yeah, so those are my checks to Zygarde. Heatran, I do have my Gliscor, which is outspeeding it, and the rest just dumped into special defense. With Earthquake, I am running Acrobatics on this. What's that for? It's for Tangrowth, because I can tank a knockoff. It's also for Heracross, right? So I can take a knockoff, and then, after I'm already poisoned, of course, and then my Acrobatics is going to do big damage to both of those. And, like, he does have a lot of reason to run knockoff versus me, because knockoff is his best way of like removing items from, well, it's the only way of removing items, but knocking off Licky Licky, for example, with Tangrowth, knocking off the Rotom Heat, knocking off Ferrothorn is all really nice for the Tangrowth to do. Yeah, so I can switch in Gliscor on that, get my Acrobatics, to 110 base power and then just hit pretty hard. Toxic is there for the Zygarde, so I'm not setup fodder unless he's sub, in which case, well, I have other ways of dealing with that. Toxic is also nice to catch the Mega Pidgeot, as like acrobatics if I don't have my item locked off is not going to be anywhere closer to it beyond that thing, so Toxic, and then my special defensive investment allows me to pretty much 1v1 that thing. I also take Scalds and roost them off from Slowbro. That's nice, I can Toxic that thing and just stall it out. Yeah, so Gliscor is a nice Pokemon. It also takes HP Ice from Jolteon, unless he's like Specs. That's pretty nice. Tauros, I actually live a Sheer Force Life Orb Ice Beam, although it does a lot, so I'm not really going to be staying in on that very easily. Anyways, let's see, what else does he have that's a threat? That's kind of like my defensive backbone is Gliscor, Rotom, and Grenville. I should point out I have Fat Rotom, as it's my best check to the Mega Pidgeot and the Jolteon. And Jolteon is kind of a big threat versus me if it's T-Volt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, I guess. And like, you could also run Hidden Power Fire from my Ferrothorn, but like, it's a pretty decent threat versus me, so I wanted to have the Rotom here, as Gliscor doesn't really appreciate HP Ices that much. And yeah, so Weavile's here. Let's get into my offensive core, which is these three Pokemon. Weavile is here to kind of just like break and or clean late game with a Sword Stance. If I have it in versus like the Zygarde that hasn't set up, he's probably going to be inclined to switch out in that situation, so I can get off a Sword Stance and potentially just sweep his team from there. So that's pretty nifty, if you ask me. I am outspeeding the Mega Pidgeot, as well as just Life Orb stabs with Ice Shard, just hits his whole team. Aside from like Heracross, I don't Oko Heracross unless I'm running Aerial Ace, and I definitely felt like SD is better in this matchup. Manaphy here is going to be Icium Z, because he does have a Tangrowth, and AV Tangrowth is his best Manaphy answer, and so if I can blow that away with a +3 Icium, then that's great, because he might sack his Jolteon, for example, thinking that he still has Tangrowth to deal with my Manaphy, so it's all good, but now I just off the thing with a +C Sub-Zero Slammer, and then Manaphy is looking in a nice situation. Yeah, so just kind of standard tail go through attacks with Z move. Max speed to potentially speed tie. Wait, why am I max speed? I don't know, I guess I just clicked the button. I should be creeping Zygarde, but I am max speed anyways, I guess. Anyways. Next up is my Mega Gallade. This is a pretty interesting spread and or set. I do have a lot of special defense investment. This is so that my Scald has basically no chance of being broken by Slowbro. So I can set up on that thing with a sub, bulk up, and then X-Scissor. If I set up a sub, I am able to 1v1 the Mega Pidgeot if I'm already set up. So that's pretty nice. I do tank a Hurricane, by the way, from full, so that's also nice if I wanted to make that trade. Say Rotom gets a weakened and Mega Pidgeot's looking like a big threat, I can make that trade. Heatran is not going to be doing very much to me. Zygarde, I am bulk up, so I can set up and take nothing from his hits. So Heracross being Scarf is another possible check to this thing, but again I am bulk up, so he'll be doing reduced damage if I am max HP, so yeah, it's not a frail Pokemon with this type of spread. Tauros is one potential check, as I am not speed creeping to speed tie Tauros, because I don't feel like it's worth it, and I can definitely run a lot less speed. And what I did here, I crept base 95 Jolly. Just in case he wanted, for some reason, to run Jolly Zygarde, which is an unset, but you know, I felt like it was worthwhile investing in that just in case. because I don't want to be outsped by a random Jolly Banded Zygarde and have to take that hit when I otherwise wouldn't need to. Anyways, let's get right into the game. So here we are. Looking at the matchup, what didn't he bring? He did not bring the Mega Pidgeot, which makes sense because I have a Rotom Heat, as well as he did not bring the Heracross, which also makes sense since I do have the Gliscor, which is kind of a hard counter to that thing. Anyways, I also have a Cramp, so that's completely understandable. Now let's get right into the game. So I lead off with my Rotom. I see with a Tangrowth, so that's pretty nice for me. And I go for the Volt Switch turn 1, expecting like a Heatran to come in on the Overheat, but he makes a nice play, goes into Jolteon. And here, Jolteon can't really do much to me, so I'm just going to Volt again, expecting him to try to like double on my Gliscor or just click Volt Switch. But he does no such thing, and that does nothing, so it's all good. He goes to the Zygarde here. As I Pain Split, I get back up to full, damage this thing, and we see his leftovers, which means Granbull is completely free. He goes for Sub, and I'm just going to click Play Rough here, I believe. There's no other real play for me to make. And yeah, he reveals he's Sub Coil. He's going to have 1,000 arrows, and the last move could be Extreme Speed, I would assume, for my weavile. But yeah. Here he's just going to sub up on my Play Rough, and now I'm just going to go for Play Rough again on his Slowbro, and I am packing a Toxic. So I'm going to go for that as he makes a switch into Heatran, and now he doubles into Tangrowth on my Gliscor, which is honestly fine for me because that gets my Toxic Orb activated, and I can just go for a Toxic here because this thing cannot threaten me unless I'm clicking Roost, as I would lose my Flying type and be weak to Grass. But as for now, he can't touch me, he knocks off my Toxic Orb, which is best case scenario for me, as now my Acrobatics can be 110 base power. I'm just going to go straight for it, as he brings in Tauros and that was 44, which is a nice chip on this thing. Now I know he's going to go for the Ice move here, so I go into my Rotom, which is going to take absolutely nothing from that. Now, I believe I just go for... I doubled the Granbull. Wow, I'm so good. Anyways, I catch the Zygarde here as he subs up for no real reason. I go for the Earthquake, because if he was going to switch there, his Fairy Resist is Heatran, and he knows I have Toxic for the Slowbro, so I felt like that could be a potential play, and I wanted to catch that if I could. I am specifically EV'd to Oko Heatran, by the way, if he's offensive. Yeah, but no, I get a crit, so that's kind of nice, but it doesn't really matter because this thing wouldn't beat me anyways. He can't even really chip me down because I am leftovers, and that does 20. So yeah, I do end up taking him out with a Play Rough. Get back up to 85, and now the Heatran comes in. I have a Rotom, which I'm going to go to because in case he wanted to get up rocks, this is carrying Defog, if I'm correct. Anyways, he does go for the Toxic, which I don't really understand because Gliscor would be a pretty obvious switch in my opinion, but he does decide to go for the Toxic, and now I am just going to go for the Volt Switch as Jolteon, I didn't feel was going to come out here. I go into my Gliscor as he sets up the rocks. And now rocks are up, which is kind of annoying, but anyways, I just go for the Earthquake. He doesn't have a ground immunity, and now I can just go for the Toxic, because even if he's Ice Beam, he doesn't kill me because I have that much special defense. And we see Scald is 52, so I'm able to easily roost stall that off, and basically just wait until the Slowbro is forced out. But he does get a crit here, which is kind of annoying, but I'm still able to roost stall this thing. I'm just going to go for it here, and he actually gets another crit, which is kind of funny, but yeah. So, if he gets 3 in a row, my Gliscor dies, but I'm just going to go for the Roost anyways, as he brings in his Tauros. And now I'm just going to go into my Granbull, because I already dealt with the Zygarde, which is the main thing Granbull's there for, and so I can also check the Tauros with the remaining HP that I have on this thing. I go for a Play Rough here, as I didn't expect him to want to go into the Heatran, because I already revealed I was willing to predict that with Earthquake, so I go for the Play Rough, predicting like a Slowbro or a Tangrowth switch in. But he actually goes Jolteon, which I don't really understand because I could have easily clicked Earthquake there. But anyways, that's what he does. I go for the Protect here to just get some leftovers back. He goes for a Volt Switch. I don't know what kind of set this is. The Shadow Ball on Rotom didn't reveal that he was like Choice Specs, so I couldn't really switch in my Gliscor there because he could have HP Iced on the switch if he wanted to. Anyways, I Earthquake as he goes into the Tangrowth. I go for Protect just to get more leftovers back as he goes for Giga Drain. This also lets Toxic rack up some damage. And now I'm going to my Royal Heat, trying to get off the Defog. And is that what I click here? Probably. As he should have switched out of there, in my opinion, but he stays and goes for the Rock Slide, which is also fair, I guess. That takes out my Rotom. But now I can just go for the Volt Switch on the Jolteon, which is kind of unfortunate. I didn't think he would do that. I thought Heatran was going to do the play. But anyways, this gives me weavile, and Ice Shard is able to knock him out from this range, so I'm just going to go for it. He makes a nice play out into Heatran, but this is fine. I have a Gliscor, but I decided to go into Manaphy. Wow, incredible. And now I'm actually going to just Surf, because Surf into Icium knocks out AV Tangrowth anyways, and just in case he wanted to stay in and go for Bloom Doom, because Heatran is his Z Pokemon and we didn't see leftovers, I wanted to cover that by going hard for Surf. As well as it kind of covered if you wanted to go hard Jolteon on my predicted setup. Because here I'm going to go into weavile on the Jolteon, as I can tank any hit, and again I threaten him with the Ice Shard, force him out into Heatran, and again this is fine, I do have a Gliscor. If he went hard for the Z move there, like Z Magnustorm, I would have died. I hear the reveal Flamethrower though, and now I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, predicting the Jolteon switch on that Roost. I felt that was a play he could have made, and Earthquake just kind of killed what was in front of me or damaged whatever switched in, so it was a fine play in general. I'm just going to Roost until his Slowbro goes down, because I can kind of do that pretty freely. Well, Scald is doing a lot though. Here, I think I just Roosted him, yeah. As he was outside of range of Earthquake, if I'm right. Here I stay in because Ice Beam doesn't kill me, and even if he did and I didn't think he was going to Ice Beam, so I just stayed in there, and here I go to Weavile predicting the Ice Beam, but he makes a nice prediction, goes for the Body Slam again, catching my Weavile. That's nice on him, but I can go into my Manaphy now, and I just go for the Surf as he switches into Heatran on a sack to get in Jolteon for free. Here I go into Gliscor because the Volt Switch is pretty obvious in that case, and now he's going to go for the Hidden Power Ice, and reveals he's Expert Belt because that knocks me out. Otherwise it had a 0% chance barring a crit to knock me out, so now I know this Jolteon is set. I can go into my Gallade and just throw off a Drain Punch, because this covers absolutely every play. He can't go Tauros obviously because that would die. If he stays in, he's not doing that much to me because I have max HP and a lot of special defense, and I'll be able to get some health back with Drain Punch. If he goes Slowbro, I can sub up and bulk up. He's Toxic, and I can go for Exazor, remain behind a sub. He actually goes for Counter, which is a cool tech, but it's not going to end up working for him here as I'm able to go for bulk up. And my sub was the Skull, and I'm able to do Exazor here. And then I can Drain Punch the Tauros, and that's going to be the 3-0 victory for my first game in the round of pools. So that's pretty nice. Gallade just kind of won. Gallade is kind of like, in this matchup I knew Gallade was really nice. All I needed was to get rid of Zygarde since I am lacking Ice Punch. And basically after that, all I needed to do was find the right setup opportunity. Because he was likely to go into Slowbro on my Gallade, I can set up on that. And so it was just kind of a patient game, waiting for Gallade to have a nice opportunity, and that's exactly what happened. Let's get into the next match. This is versus Soap, not the Soap that went 6-0, but Manly Soap. Anyways, this is his team right here. He has the Celesteela, which is kind of threatening. Although not as threatening as it would be to like other teams. He has Z Salamence, which Salamence is like kind of bad in my opinion. It's definitely overpriced in this league, not league, tournament. Anyways, Suicune is a big threat because it's a Suicune. Like that thing can literally beat anything it wants to. Mamoswine is also a big threat, although I went over in my draft analysis how Mamoswine can be mitigated somewhat. Salazzle, another big threat. Salazzle is like a huge threat, especially to the team that I brought. And I can go over that a little bit more. Comfy, I feel like is not a threat. at least not that much of a threat. Since I do have a Ferrothorn, if he's Hidden Power Fire, then he's lacking Taunt, and he's lacking some other move, which means something else on my team should be able to beat it. Anyways, Celebi is kind of hard for me to break, outside of like Rotom and Weavile, but I do have Rotom and Weavile, so it shouldn't be too hard. Anyways, let's get into the team. This is going to be Leftovers Sub-Tail Glow Manaphy. This is designed to beat any type of Suicune, basically. I guess Roar Suicune could be able to give this set a little bit of trouble, but in general this can beat Suicune. Tail Glow, obvious. Surf, pretty obvious as well why I have that just stab. And then I have Substitute and Grass Knot. Now, I am walled by Celebi and Salamence with this set. However, both of those are really threatened by Weavile, and my Weavile is Pursuit. So if I'm able to catch the Celebi, then I can go for a Pursuit. And just try to eliminate that thing for my Manaphy, which is pretty nice if I'm able to do that. Manaphy can definitely go in. The Gliscor here is going to be my Stealth Rocker, because if you look at his team, his hazard removal is pretty lacking. He does have Armaldo, which is an Unmon. He has Defog Ments, and I guess Defog Comfy. None of those are really solid, so I decided to go for Rocks plus Spikes in this game with my Gliscor and Ferrothorn. So Gliscor is going to be physically defensive. This is to help deal with the Salamence. Although I am walled by Salamence, I can eat up pretty much any hit, go for a U-turn into my Weavile, and pick it off with an Ice Shard. So that's pretty nice. Physical defense also helps versus the Celesteela, because Heavy Slam is not going to be doing very much to me. Although I guess I am walled by that, so really, I couldn't tell you why I'm so physically defensive, but I am. And that's going to be that set. U-turn is just nice for momentum. Ferrothorn here is going to be Bullet Seed. This is to help versus Sub-Protect Suicune, as that would be able to beat Power Whip Ferrothorn. Bullet Seed with 16 attack means that 2 hits is able to break the sub of a max HP Suicune. So that's kind of what that attack is for. Leech Seed is just for recovery. Spikes, obvious. Gyro Ball is there for Mamoswine, because Bullet Seed is much weaker than Gyro Ball. Especially if I get fewer hits. Gyro Ball also helps versus the Salamence and the Comfy, as well as it does decent damage to Salazzle, which could be a potential switch into Ferrothorn. Weavile is going to be Choice Banded, already went over this. Knockup, Ice Shard, Pursuit, Crash, pretty standard set. Knockup is super nice versus this team, nothing wants to take it, besides like a Comfy, and that's taking like 60 from Icicle Crash if it's physically defensive. Yeah, it's just a nice set. Pursuit trapping Celebi is really nice. Checking Ments is really nice. Anyways, Mega Gallade is here as well with the Sword Stance. 3 attacks. After an SD, I kind of sweep his whole team. He doesn't have anything that outspeeds me besides Salazzle and Choice Scarfers. Comfy is doing negative damage with Draining Kiss, because it's really weak. Unless it's like Pixie Plate max special attack, in which case it's not physically defensive, which means Weavile is doing way more to it, can't switch into that at all. As well as Rotom Heat just kind of soaks up that damage for free, as well as Ferrothorn. Gallade is a nice win con in this game, along with Manaphy. Both of them, provided I get rid of or weaken certain things, both of them can definitely sweep. So next up is my Rotom Heat with Choice Specs, because it OHKOs every single Pokemon on his roster besides Suicune and I guess Salamence, because I took off Hidden Power Ice for the defog, because I felt like Stealth Rocks, if they were up and like weakening my stuff, like say my Weavile was at 12% and I really desperately needed a Salamence check, I can go for the defog there. But anyways, that's kind of just a filler move. I'm probably not going to be clicking it this game. Overheat and Thunderbolt Volt Switch literally kills everything on this team. As you can see, like Overheat, Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt does actually OHKO Salazzle. Overheat. Thunderbolt does like 70 to Salamence, which is nice. Comfy dies to Overheat, and Armaldo is an unmon, but it probably also dies to overheat. So yeah, main threat versus me is the Salazzle, as if I lose my weavile, I have no way of revenging it +2 Salazzle. It just literally sweeps. If it's dual stab HP Ice. With a life orb, it kills everything. So that's kind of scary. But anyway, let's get right into the game. So here we are. What did he decide to leave on the bench? There's no Celebi, which means that my Manaphy is already looking in a nice spot, as well as no Armaldo, because that's an unmon. Anyways, so looking at the matchup, Mamoswine is the only rocker. As for Scarfers, I think Solomon's could be Choice Scarf to help check my Gallade. Celesteela probably just going to be fat, because he does appreciate the defensive capabilities of Steela in this matchup. Although I guess it could be offensive, I don't know, it's whatever. Salazzle probably threat number 1. Suicune is also a pretty nice threat versus me, but I do have the Manaphy and the Ferrothorn, so it's not too bad. I'm actually going to lead off with my Rotom Heat, as it does get a kill, if I predict correctly. Turn 1. So here he leads off with the Celesteela. I'm going to go hard for the Overheat because, in his mind, Mamoswine should be able to eat any hit if I am just offensive without a boosting item. If I go for a T-Bolt, he can live the Overheat next turn if I'm not choiced. So for that reason, I'm going to go straight for the Overheat, which is going to OHKO to Mamoswine turn 1, which means no Stealth Rocks for him, which is very nice. He goes into his Ments. If this is Dragon Dance, it could be an issue, but I'm going to go into my Gliscor as I get the Toxic Orb, and he does go for the Dragon Dance, revealing not Scarf. He goes for the Outrage, does 65 as I get up my rocks. And I do this because Gliscor is very useless this game. If you look at it, its only real purpose is to get up rocks and like maybe get some momentum with U-turn. So I do just get up my rocks. He goes for the Outrage, which is interesting as that gives me a free switch into my Ferrothorn, as I do resist it when he's locked in, but he does crit me, which is kind of annoying. But it's okay because he did get a 3-turn, so he's kind of forced to stay in an Outrage. And now I'm just going to go for the Charable, I believe, to, yeah, really get this thing down on health. And now I know he could have the Fire thing, so I'm just going to sack my Gliscor. Again, this thing is pretty useless, as he does hit himself in Confusion, so I don't know what he clipped there, but he did die. And in comes the Suicune. I am pretty fast on my Gliscor, so I'm just going to go for U-turn, and again, even if he is faster, Gliscor does not have very much value in this game, so if I lose it, it's whatever. I go into my Ferrothorn here because I should be able to wall anything he wants to go for, because he does Scald, and here I have a few options. I can get up Spikes, or go for the Grass move, but here I decide to go on my Manaphy because this covers him going for the Protect, sub, whatever, as well as it covers a switch into Salazzle, which could have been scary. And now Manaphy is able to sub up on the Suicune. There's not really much you can do about it. He already revealed Scald Protect, and now Calm Mind, so the odds of him having Roar is literally 0%. And now I'm going to go for the Tail Glow, as +1 Scald is never breaking my sub, and +2 is a roll to break my sub. So I'm going to go for the Grass Knot here, as he does not break my sub, which is nice. And another Grass Knot will be able to put him very low. And now he's going to break my sub with the next Scald. Now here I'm going to go for the sub, just in case he is not able to break my sub. It is a roll, and I can't afford going for it once. But he does break it, and going for sub again would be somewhat of a misplay, because that would open me up to, if he gets high rolls back to back to back, he could be able to revenge me pretty easily. He goes for Celesteela, which is going to be able to take the Surf, but I am able to dodge the Air Slash, which is pretty fortunate, but it was only going to be doing about 26, 27 to my Manaphy. So not really that much damage. He goes into his Comfy, which is going to do 29, which is a lot for a Comfy, revealing he is definitely offensive Comfy. But again, it does nothing to my Manaphy. He brings in his Salazzle. I'm going to go with the Sludge Wave, which does a lot. I don't know if that's Specs or not. Could be. Anyways, that's going to be the game. Manaphy is able to just kind of do it. And let's get into the next game. Versus A12. So at this point I already clutched the already clutch moving on to round 2 pools. So this was kind of like just for fun. Because A12 is also, he was already out of round 2 pools, so yeah. Anyways, I have Rocky Helmet Ferrothorn. This is to punish the Mega Charizard X as much as possible, as well as the Staraptor, because Staraptor is a big threat. If I get Rocky Helmet, Iron Bars, Recoil on that thing, it's definitely easier to deal with. This is Spikes because he has a lot of grounded Pokemon, and Spikes plus Stealth Rock Gliscor is something that I wanted to run this game. We have Knockoff Terra Ball, Leech Seed as like my filler moves. It's kind of whatever. Manaphy is going to be Z Rain Dance with Tail Glow Surf and Psychic. This has the potential to sweep him. I have the Water Z. Depending on the situation, I can go for Hydro Vortex or Z Rain Dance, just whatever is better at the time. Definitely going to be my win con this game. Weavile is going to be Choice Banded, very standard, except I'm rocking Triple Ice. This is because if you look at his Ice Resist, he doesn't have any. So, Icicle Crash is a little stronger, but Ice Punch never misses. So if I want to be a little bit safer, I can go with Ice Punch. Next up is my Mega Gallade, Sword Dance 3 attacks, another win con. Gliscor is just going to be my Stealth Rocker, get some momentum with U-turn, as well as physically defensive. This is my Zard X counter, / switching. Then I have Rotom Heat, which is going to be modest with a little bit of special defense with Psych Up Pain Split. This is so that I can never really lose to Clefable, because Clefable with Flamethrower, Moonblast, Calm Mind, Soft Blow is a huge threat to my team, as after a Calm Mind, the only thing I can really do versus it is like trick it a Scarf with Rotom, and I didn't want Scarf Rotom in this matchup, so Leftovers, Psych Up with enough special attack to always 3 at KO with Discharge, so if I get a para on him, then all it takes is 1 para, and my Discharge will be able to kill him. Assuming like he's Calm Mind like +6/+6, I can Psych Up, so it's basically neutral. And yeah, that's what it is. So getting into the game, I'm gonna switch sides real quick. And looking at the team, he brought both of his birds. I didn't expect both, I thought he'd only bring one, but he decided to bring both. He has 2 potential Stealth Rock, or 3 actually, Mew, Archeops, and Clefable, as well as potential Spikes on Roserade, so we'll see how that works out. Staraptor's a big threat, Zeraor's a big threat. But anyways, he's going to lead off with his Mew as I lead off with my Ferrothorn. I know this could have a fire move, so I'm going to switch out into my Rotom, as he does reveal the Flamethrower, and that's actually max special attack, I believe. And he actually goes for the Surf, which is pretty bad for me, as this really weakens my Rotom. I'm going to be forced to either get off a Pain Split or like just use it as Sack Fodder. I'm going to go to my Gallade as I take pretty much nothing from any hit. I'm going to go for the Poison Jab on Clefable, and I get a pretty low roll. And I go for it here, just 52, and the thing with this is I have a pretty favorable roll to knock out Clefable, as well as a pretty favorable roll to live the Moonblast, but I get neither of those things. That's kind of unfortunate, but I'm able to go into my Rotom and click a Discharge for pretty much free. If Zeraor comes in and it's walled, Archeops comes in, probably over up the rocks here, yep. So I get in my Gliscor, and I'm just going to get up the rocks of my own, I believe, as he goes for the max special attack Hidden Power Ice. I think it's max special attack anyways, and he is able to knock out my Archeops, or knock out my Gliscor with HP Ice and the Heat Wave. This does give me my Weavile though, and basically a free kill. Unless he's Sash, which he probably isn't. We'll with the Ice Punch as it's able to literally get a kill. Goes into Zeraora, and here I go into my Rotom just sacking it off because rocks are up, it's at 27. He reveals that he's Special Zeraora with Focus Block, which means I'm not able to get off like Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbed Ship with Ferrothorn if he was like Close Combat or Fire Punch, as I tempt both. But I am going to go for the knockoff here on the Roserade. And now I actually stay in and die to the Hidden Power Fire. I didn't really have a play there because Manaphy, it would be at +0, which isn't able to knock out Roserade. I thought I'd be able to live the Hidden Power Fire, but he is offensive and able to knock me out. I bring my Weavile because it's a free kill, and I here actually go for the Ice Shark. I went for that because my only way of winning this game is to get chip damage off on 0R, and then live the T-Bolt with Manaphy, Z-Ray Mavs up, and after +1 speed in the lane, be able to OHKO all 3 mons. What this has to rely on is winning a tie versus potential Scarf Star Actor, or him not having quick attack at all. But anyways, yeah, if he switched hard into 0R, he would have avoided the KO, but that was my only way of winning. Yeah, after leftovers, he would have been able to avoid the KO rush shard. Anyways, here I'm going to go to my Manaphy. He has Modest Throw, so it's a 50-50 roll and he gets it, so my Manaphy does go down, but he revealed that Star Actor was actually banded quick attack, so Manaphy wouldn't be able to win even if I did live the Thunderbolt. So we went 2-1 in that pool, but we still move on to the next round. So let's get into the round 2 points, teams, and matchups. So here we have it. I'm going to go over my team versus Word Life first. He's got a pretty threatening team. Garchomp is a huge threat versus me. Mew can kind of do whatever it wants and still do well. Snorlax is a pretty big threat. Scizor not so much. Milotic not so much. Moltres not so much. It really is an unmon. Anyways, let's go into the team. I have a pretty bulky sub SD Gallade, as once Mew goes down, this thing can potentially win. 64 attack allows me to one-hit KO Mega Diancie with +2 Dream Punch, as well as OHKO Garchomp from full at +0. So I do have my check to Garchomp right here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This thing can sub up on Milotic some of the time. It does have a chance to break my sub. I can also sub up versus the Rosalia if he wants to bring that, as well as a Mew. If it's like Ice Beam Wisp, which is a pretty likely set versus me, I do have a Gliscor. But anyways, yeah, it's a nice win con. Manaphy is going to be Choice Scarf because this is my check, or is my switch into Garchomp, as well as a nice lure for Mega Diancie. Modest allows me to OHKO Diancie after Rocks, guaranteed. U-turn for Momentum, by predicted switch out. Ice Beam for Garchomp, Energy Ball for the Milotic, and that's pretty simple. I am able to take a Devastating Drake if he wants to go hard for it on the switch. Even after Rocks, I take that, and I'm able to outspeed and OHKO with the Ice Beam. I don't think he would expect Scarf Manaphy with his Garchomp if he went for the Z, but like if he just Earthquaked me on the switch, he's like, okay, Z move knocks this out, he can go for it, and that Ice Beam will outspeed and OHKO it. And next up is my weavile. This has some nice special defense on it. This allows me to take 2 vacuum waves from defensive Mew. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, just Pursuit, Knockoff, Crash, Shard, pretty standard set with the Choice Band. I do like banded weavile in this matchup. Running these leftovers with Volt, Ice, and Overheat. He doesn't have great switch-ins, as well as max HP and leftovers allows me to stick around for a while. Defog is nice because I don't appreciate hazards up on my side, and I'm not running Rocks plus Spikes, so defogging is not bad for me. This also prevents me from losing to T-Spikes if he does decide to bring Rosalia. Anyways, Gliscor is next. I am Sword Stance, Earthquake, Stone Edge. I have enough attack to OHKO Offensive Moltres and outspeed it with a +0 Stone Edge. That's pretty nice. Other than Moltres getting some ground resist, so Earthquake is pretty free. This set with the attack enlistment allows me to 1v1 Milotic because I'm able to tank Scalds. Anyways, next up is my Ferrothorn, which can be the Death Ockaberry, which is like standard Mega Diancie counter. Red Stealth Rock, HC, Toxic, and Power Whip as my stat of choice to help versus the Milotic, Toxic for Moltres, as well as like a Iapapa Berry Snorlax, or the like, stuff like that. Leech Seed just for recovery, as if he doesn't bring Rosalia, Leech Seed is relatively free, as Diancie's not switching to Ferrothorn. Anyways, yeah, let's just get right into the game. And here we are. So what did he decide to leave out? He left out Garchomp and Rosalia. That's pretty nice for me. And let's just get right into the game, I guess. Stealth Rocker is probably going to be Mega Diancie, so I have to be wary of that. Anyways, let's get right into it. Ferrothorn is in versus the Diancie lead, and I'm just going to go for the Toxic here because it kind of covers everything. If he stays in, I don't want to bounce back the rocks, and I felt like Moltres was going to be the play there, as he doesn't really fear much. He does go Scizor, and I'm able to just stay in and get up my rocks since he didn't Mega Ball his Diancie. It's pretty free, and I'm going to go to my Rotom as he taunts. So now I'm able to just go for a free Volt Switch, as he doesn't have a ground type, and he reveals Bulk Up, max HP, I believe. So here I'm going to go to my weavile, and just click the banded knockoff. He could be Cobra Berry, or he reveals leftovers here, so yeah. I actually get min-rolled with the knockoff, but that's okay. He goes for Drain Punch, gets up some recovery, but now Manaphy can come in and go hit the Surf to KO this thing. I do have to take some damage on it, but that's not the end of the world. I don't really need that much HP on Manaphy, I just need it to be around, since it is Scarf. My Ferrothorn comes in on Milotic, and it's basically a free Leech Seed in this situation. But I do miss, so that's kind of unfortunate. Would have appreciated being a little bit healthier on the Ferrothorn. Anyways, I get my Rotom in on the Scizor, and I go with the Volt Switch, not expecting him to want to stay on an Overheat, but he decides to risk it there, and maybe he's Aqua Berry and tanks anyways, I don't know. Anyways, I do get my Toxicroak activated on Gliscor, and now I go into my Ferrothorn on the Mellow, as he makes a nice double into Moltres, and he actually goes for a U-turn, leading me to believe this is a Choice Scarf Moltres, which is going to be nice information for later. He was able to get the free switch to his Diancie though, as he goes for the HP Fire, predicting my Ferrothorn, and I figured he was either going to do that or go for the Rocks, so Manaphy is in, and now, from his point of view, Moonblast is pretty free, because versus his team, if I were Tail Glow, I would be forced to be timid. He tanks the Surf anyways, and he can go for the Moonblast. If he doesn't get the roll, then it's fine. But I'm actually going to be outspeeding. I'm modest, so I Oko, and yeah, so that happens. Now, the Snorlax comes in. I decide to go on my Ferrothorn as he curses up. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed, as he Fire Punches, pops my Aqua Berry, but he takes some damage from the Leech Seed and Iron Heart. I'm going to go on my Gliscor because I do wall this thing, and I do have SD, and with the Leech Seed, he's not going to be beating my Gliscor at all. I'm going to go with the SD here as he goes into my Milotic. The only way he knocks me out is with an Ice Beam high roll, and we're going to see he doesn't actually have it. He goes for Recover here, and next turn I believe he goes for the Haze, revealing it. But he can't do this forever because he's Burn Orb, so he's going to be losing health no matter what he does, so he's kind of forced to just sack his Milotic and take the damage. As he actually makes a nice play into Moltres. I am creeping this thing specifically, but I'm pretty sure he's Scarf, so I'm actually going to switch out because I'm in range of Fire Blast, or Hurricane, whatever he wants to go for, into my Rotom, and this gives me a free Volt Switch. As he actually stays into Hurricane again, which gives me a big chip on this Moltres, which is very nice. Now I go into my Manaphy because I should outspeed this, because my Manaphy is creeping what he would be creeping if he were creeping my weavile, if that makes sense. So his speed to outspeed weavile, which is my fastest Pokemon, would be slower than my Manaphy. Anyways, I'm going to go for the Surf, as Snorlax is basically the only play for him, as he goes for the Rest, and he reveals the Chesto Berry, which is actually not very good for me. But I am able to go for the Swords Dance, and now he brings in the Moltres. The only thing that would make sense for him to do here is click HP Ice, so I'm going to go hard with my Ferrothorn and get up my Rocks. Or no, I actually go for the Leech Seed here, and then I believe I get up my Rocks. Yeah, as he brings in Scizor. Oh, as I Leech again, wow, I'm so good. And here I'm going to go for Rocks as he crits with U-turn, which is pretty big. Rocks would have been very nice in this endgame with Moltres. But anyways, that's what he does. I go on Rotom here because he went Moltres. He already revealed he doesn't have HP Rock. It's HP ice, so I'm able to go for a free Volt Switch, basically pick up a KO, and now I go into my Manaphy. This was kind of a misplay. No, not a misplay. I probably should have gone into my Gallade or my Gliscor here, because this gives a free Snorlax, and Snorlax is basically the only threat remaining with Curse. I'm actually going to U-turn out into, I believe, my Gliscor as he goes for the Curse. I'm forced to SD up, but here I start going for Earthquakes, which is not great for me. I should have SD'd up to +6, as he doesn't have a way of beating me if I do that, but I'm basically just giving him opportunities here to get up to +6 here. He goes for Rest. I could have gone into Gallade here on the Rest since he's not Sleep Talk, but if he returned there, I just straight up lost, so I didn't really think that was a great play. Whereas here he was able to go for Return, knock out my Gliscor, and that was +6 Snorlax versus the world. I go into Manaphy, go for Surf. There's 24, revealing he's not as special defensive as standard Snorlax, which means my Drain Punch from Gallade is not going to be doing very much. Here, if I was close combat, I won, but unfortunately I'm not. And now Rotom is not going to knock him out with a Volt Switch. Psych, I get a crit, and Rotom's able to clean up this game. So I definitely robbed this guy. And his way of winning is a Hurricane Confused, not going to get it. And so Rotom's able to do it with a crit. Yeah, that's the game, so yeah. And spoiler alert, both of us did make brackets, so it's not like this hacks cost him anything really in the game, or in the tournament, but it's just kind of funny. Anyways, let's go into my next match, which is up against Crystal. And yeah, so Crystal, right here, we have a very similar team. Half of the Pokemon are exactly the same, being Ferrothorn, Mega Gallade, Licky, and Manaphy. We both have Z Manaphy. That's pretty nice. And let's get right into the team I decided to bring. I have offensive SD3 attacks, Drain Punch, Mega Gallade, as I felt like this had a very nice matchup. His only way of outspeeding is winning a tie with his own Gallade or having a Scarfer, like Scarf Garchomp. And since it's not Z Garchomp, I felt like Scarf is probably his best set versus me. Anyways, definitely expecting like a Chople Ferrothorn, and I believe I'm also bringing Chople Ferrothorn because we both have the Gallade. This Ferrothorn is very offensive, I'll get into that later. Anyways, Drain Punch, Zen, and Ice Punch gives me coverage versus this whole team. Pretty nice Pokemon, nice win con, can definitely do it. Next up is my Manaphy, which is going to be Iapapa Berry. This allows me to actually beat some stuff like Licky. If he wants to Toxic me, it's going to take much longer for Toxic to be able to knock me out with the Iapapa Berry, as well as I can tank attacks from Mega Gallade, get the Iapapa Berry after I knock him out, and still be healthy for the next Pokemon, as Close Combat is doing quite a lot to offensive Manaphy. It's probably going to put me in range of my berry. Anyways, I have Tail Glow, Surf, Hidden Power Fire, and Energy Ball. Since Ferrothorn's likely to be Chople Berry, he's not going to be Aqua Berry for my Manaphy. So HP Fire is a guaranteed one-hit KO at +3 versus max Special Defense Ferrothorn, so even if he is special defensive, I'm able to do like 104 minimum, I believe is the roll. Surf is just Stab, Energy Ball is there for the opposing Manaphy. And yeah, so I don't have Ice Beam, which means I can't check Garchomp if I'm at +0, but that's fine. I have a few other ways to check it. Weavile is here, Life Orb with 4 attacks. I am rocking the Low Kick in this game to help versus Incineroar, which otherwise would be a great switch into Weavile. Yeah, just Life Orb for attacks. It's pretty nice to clean up late game potentially, as well as knock off items from Ferrothorn. Yeah, just not a bad Pokemon in this matchup, for sure. Scarf Rotom is here to give me something other than Weavile that guaranteed outspeeds Mega Gallade. I can like Volt Switch to get Chip and then Overheat once he's in range, that sort of thing. And Scarf HP Ice for the Garchomp, as well as it's just a nice offensive threat in general. versus everything except the Licky Licky. Next up is my Ferrothorn, which is going to be Choppleberry offensive, and what this allows me to do is Oko Manaphy with Power Whip. So normally Manaphy is able to take like 70 to 80% from Power Whip, something like that, and with the Brave Nature 240 attack, I'm able to Oko Manaphy from full. So that's pretty nice. Gives me a lot of options to beat that thing if it's in versus my Ferrothorn. I can just Power Whip rather than trying to get damage and then revenging it with something else, so I keep my Ferrothorn in that situation. I do take a close combat from my Gallade thanks to my Choppleberry, and I'm able to knock it out cleanly with a Gyro Ball. And yeah, I am running Spikes because if you look at his team, everything's grounded besides Solvali. That's his only like ground immunity, so being able to set up Spikes is going to hit everything on his team. So especially if I get Stealth Rock and Spikes, both of those are going to be hitting everything on his team and really pressuring it a lot. Especially considering his hazard removal is like Solvali. Anyways, next up is my Gliscor, which is going to be Taunt, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Roost. Again, he has no ground immunity, so Mono Earthquake is fine in this matchup. Taunt is there to prevent setup from Slurpuff. If he wants to Belly Drum, I am creeping Adamant Slurpuff, I believe. As well as I can prevent hazards from Ferrothorn, HC, that sort of thing. I am pretty defensive, giving me a nice check to Garchomp since it can't be Z-move, as well as Incineroar. So yeah, that's going to be my team. Let's get right into the game, which is going to be here. I was about to say let's switch sides, but no, the teams are really just that similar. Looking at the matchup, Garchomp and Ferrothorn are both the rockers. Manaphy is probably going to be a win con, Gallade win con, Slurpuff win con, because if you look at my team, the only thing I have for Slurpuff is the Ferrothorn. I should have gone over that in the team building set, my team building part, but literally if it gets +6 with Belly Drum, my checks are Ice Shard with my weavile or Choppleberry on my Ferrothorn being intact. So I really can't risk Ferrothorn at all in this game unless Slurpuff goes down. So that's going to be like the main thing in this game is preserving Ferrothorn, making sure I do that. Anyways, let's get right into the game. I lead off with my Rotom Heat as he leads off with Gallade, and this is a pretty free Volt Switch as he shouldn't go into Garchomp turn 1, I don't think. And then I'm actually going to go on my Gliscor here. And yeah, he goes for a Sword Stance. I go for an Earthquake. And here, I'm actually going to go into my Weavile. This covers a few things. It covers the Zen Headbutt and the Ice Punch, which is going to be the only way he's knocking out Gliscor. And actually, best case scenario, he goes for the Zen Headbutt, and I'm able to knock him out with the Knockoff. So total damage taken from Gallade, 10%. Shout out to TSB. Anyways, I'm able to just knock out the Manaphy. This was kind of like... well, I basically caught a disease for this one turn. I, for some reason, thought that Garchomp was a Z-move user, so Manaphy would get 2-hit KO'd, potentially by a knockoff if I got nice rolls. And Manaphy can't kill me with anything outside of HP fighting, so I was like, let me just knock off here. But Manaphy is the Z Pokemon, it's the other team that has Z Garchomp. But anyways, it's not the end of the world. He does go for Scald, does not get the burn, thankfully. And now I'm just going to go for another knockoff as Weavile's not that great in this matchup outside of Garchomp. So I wanted to just get damage on Manaphy. And now I go into my Gallade, get my free Mega, and I'm able to just go for the Drain Punch, which guarantees a KO basically, as he doesn't want to switch into the Slurpuff because that's his win con at this point. He goes into his Garchomp, he reveals Scarf, but I am just going to go straight for the Ice Punch and able to knock him out. So that's pretty nice. And now he's going to his Ferrothorn. I know this is going to be Choppleberry, but I don't have a better play than Drain Punch anyways, and so I just go for it as he's able to knock me out with Power Whip. So that's something that happens, but now this gives me Rotom, and it's a pretty free Volt Switch Probably could have gone for overheat, but I felt like Licky Licky coming in would be something that I don't really want to allow. I just go for the Volt Switch, and he actually goes Protect, which is nice tech. But I do still have my Gliscor to switch in on this thing. He gets up Rock, so I'm just going to trade with him as he misses Leech Seed, which is kind of unfortunate. But now I'm just going to go for the Taunt, because I don't want him to Leech Seed me. And he actually makes a switch into Slurpuff, which is nice that I'm able to taunt that thing. But now he goes into his Licky Licky. This thing has Ice Beam, he's able to 1v1 me, especially since he's immune to Taunt. So I go into my Manaphy, and I set up the Tail Glow because I don't really set up versus anything else, so I may as well go for the game here. As he goes for the Power Whip, it actually crits me, which is actually good for me, because if he didn't crit, he would be able to 2-hit KO with Power Whip, but since he crit, that puts me in range of my berry, I get 50% back, and now I go for the Surf, as he misses Power Whip. And that didn't really matter, in the sense that I can literally just Surf again. Even if he lives, Gliscor will win on its own. But anyways, he does miss there. I go for Tail Glow, trying to flex on the Protect, since I felt like Protect would be his play to get extra leftovers. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm able to go for the Surf here, knock this out, knock out Ferrothorn with Power Fire, and knock out Slurpuff with Surf. So that happened, and that's a 4-0 victory. So next up is my match against AM22. So let's get into this matchup a little bit here. So he has a very interesting team. I guess it's kind of weird because he has Mega Lopunny with no spikes, no T-spikes, and like Mega Lopunny really needs spikes in my opinion. Well, doesn't need it, but like it's just so much better with spikes. If you look at my team, Mega Lopunny plus spikes would be super nice. But he doesn't have it, so that's pretty nice for me. I do decide to bring a offensive bulk up Mega Gallade, as with bulk up I'm able to tank hits from Scarf Victini, Mega Lopunny, that sort of thing, and just Drain Punch the damage off. Yeah. So it's a nice win con this game. Poison Jab is there for the Florges, and Drain Punch is there for pretty much everything besides the Victini and Gourgeist, which I do have knockoff for. TT is also kind of, I guess it technically walls this set, but +2 Poison Jab is still doing a lot. Anyways, Gliscor, or not +2, I mean +1. Anyways, Gliscor is here with the Toxcorp, Swords Dance with Nanoswine coverage, basically just covering the Hydreigon, Thunder's Tea, and Gourgeist in one move slot with Ice Fang. I am pretty much max special defense, Impish Nature. Impish Nature allows me to take a Ice Punch from full from Mega Lopunny, allows me to take V-Create from Victini. It still does like 65 to 70 to me, but I'm able to take it and not take that much damage from it. What else is there to say about Gliscor? Thundy cannot knock me out in Power Ice unless it's Life Orb, which it should be Z-move in this game at Titanium in my opinion, just for the Ferrothorn, which of course I am bringing. Yeah, here, let's get into Ferrothorn. I decided to bring Double Hazard this game because Victini is a pretty safe switch on Ferrothorn, so I want to capitalize on that, at least by getting up hazards to damage it next time. As well as, I do have a switch in to Victini being my Rodent Heat, so letting it in exchange for hazards isn't the worst thing ever for me. So yeah, I'm able to also Leech Seed versus his entire team besides Gourgeist, which I get up 3 hazards on. So that's nice, and then Gyro Ball is there, just as my general stab for Mega Lopunny. This EV spread is made to always survive HJK, unless he's like adamant, which he shouldn't be. Anyways, next up is my Weavile with Life Orb SD3 attacks, because this thing can definitely do some big damage if Mega Lopunny goes down and Victini is not Scarf. So yeah, If I get up a setup opportunity versus, say, the Empoleon or Florges, like say Florges is forced to go for Wish or Protect, I can Sword Stance up, Gliscor Crush +2 Life Orb, probably get a drop. But anyways, Granbull is next. This is going to be Rocky Helmet. Defensive, it's my basic Mega Lopunny check. Play Rough, Earthquake, Toxic, and Heal Bell. Toxic is nice because he doesn't have very much that wants to come in on Toxic besides Empoleon, and I do have Earthquake for that. I believe the attack investment to it KOs especially defensive Empoleon with Earthquake. So that's pretty nice to have. Heal Bell is just in case I get statused, like Empoleon Skull burns my Weavile or something, or like Skull burns my Ferrothorn, or my Gallade. I just want to have the status removed, I can go for that. Yeah, it's just pretty standard Granbull. Rotom Heat is here. Just a bulky Rotom Heat. It's my Victini answer. It can switch in on the Florges. And it can switch in on Bundy T. I believe this special defense investment allows me to take a +2 Focus Blast, because he should use up his Z move on Ferrothorn, and in that case Rotom will be able to take a hit. Anyways, I believe that's what it's for. Anyways, it's just a nice Pokemon in general versus him, prepping momentum versus the majority of his team, and the things that wouldn't that would block Volt Switch. I 1v1 anyways with Will-O-Wisp on Piloswine, and Overheat versus Bundy T, as well as just being that. Anyways, that's the team. Let's get into the game. So here we have it. Interesting thing, no Stealth Rocker. So I don't have to worry about Stealth Rocks at all this game, which is going to be nice for my Rotom. But anyways, let's get right into the game. Rotom is going to be my lead of choice, as it prevents a bad lead versus Victini. And now I'm just going to go for the Team Split, because if he wanted to Draco, I would get a lot of chip damage on the Hydreigon and still retain a pretty healthy Rotom, but he does U-turn into the Bundy T. And now I am going to go into my Gliscor, as I get my Toxicroak activated, and he's going to go for the Draco Meteor, as I go for the Ice Fang just to chip this thing a little bit. And thanks to my special defense, he's not able to 2-hit KO with Modest Draco Meteor. And it's looking like it's Scarf Hydreigon at this point. And Lopunny comes in, I'm going to go hard in my Granbull, the designated counter, on what I'm guessing is going to be an Ice Punch, and that does 15. Now I'm able to throw off a free attack. So I'm really just going to go for the Play Rough. No, I go for the Toxic. Wow, I'm so good. On the Gorgai switch in, so that's pretty nice on me. And now I'm going to go into my Ferrothorn, as he makes a really solid double into Victini, but I do have my Rotom here, as I only take about 40% from that thing. And now, I believe Pain Split is pretty free this turn. I actually go for Overheat. Wow, that's pretty good. Getting a lot of damage on the Bundy T. And now I actually Overheat again, because it would likely knock him out. He can't really do that much to threaten me. I believe I lived as you move Titanium from that range anyways. He goes into his Florges. Now I'm going to switch hard out into Ferrothorn in case he wanted to Protect. / go pivot into Thundy on my Volt Switch. But anyways, Ferrothorn's in. I go for these Stealth Rocks. I didn't think he would go into his Thundurus. I felt like Victini was always the play, but he decided that Thundurus was the play. Gyro Ball would probably be able to knock this out. I didn't calc it, but I assumed it would be able to. But no, he doesn't get his Thundurus back healthy, as I go to my Gliscor, and now I'm going to make a nice double into Weavile on the Hidden Power Ice. So yeah, I get that play right, and now I can go for a free Icicle Crash, and actually crit him through the Yashi Berry, which is very fortunate for me. And now he brings in his Lopunny. I'm actually going to go Ferrothorn on the return, just because you always gotta flex sometimes. And now I'm going to pivot into the Granbull on what I assume is going to be an HJK. Now a Drain Punch, same thing. Anyways, I get more chip on the Lopunny and get my Granbull in for basically free. I go for an Earthquake here, predicting the Victini on the Play Rough. But he just goes for just P-Fogs my rocks away. And now my Gliscor's in, and I can actually go for the Sword Stance here. And Ice Fang is going to do a solid chunk to this thing, because he goes for Worry Seed, which is really cool tech. And it's going to make my Gliscor take toxic damage. But now I can go in my Rotom, as I know that he's going to go into the 15, predicting my Ferrothorn on the Gourgeist. So Rotom also covers Gourgeist staying in anyways, so this was pretty free to play anyways. And he's going to U-turn out as I go for the Volt Switch because it's free. He lost his immunity. And now I'm able to go into my Gliscor on the Florges. I get back some HP because I do want this thing as healthy as possible. Gliscor at 80% is a lot different than Gliscor at 100, I found. Anyways, here I Earthquake. Just get some chip on Lopunny so it doesn't come in and come back all the way to full. And now I go into my Granbull once again on the Ice Punch, and I believe he freezes me here. Yep. So now, my Granbull's frozen, which means I basically have to double it out unless I want to lose a lot of momentum. But he's not going to be staying in on Granbull anyways with the Lopunny because he doesn't want to take extra helmet chip. So Ferrothorn's in, I just go for Gyro Ball because he either switches out into something and I get chip on something and Florges is low, or he sacks his Florges, which is what happens. Now I'm going to go into my Rotom Heat, and he actually gets 2 relatively lower rolls, which allows my Rotom to survive and go through Pain Split and get all the way back up to 70%, which is very nice. I can go for the Volt Switch here for free, as he's now slower than my Rotom. And now I can go in my Gliscor once again for free. He doesn't really have a play here, so I'm just going to go for the Ice Fang. It gets chip on Lopunny, puts it in Earthquake range, and I still have my Granbull, which is why I Earthquake, because you don't Ice Punch into Granbull. He actually goes Hydreigon, which is fine for me, as Draco Meteor is not going to do very much. I go for Ice Fang because it's pretty free. The only way Ice Fang would not work out is if it killed Hydreigon in that situation, which obviously being a crit wouldn't be able to do. So I'm able to just boost back up to full right now. And so here, the Gourgeist comes in, and I don't want him to Worry Seed me because that would chip my Gliscor down. So I'm going to switch on the Ferrothorn on the Leech Seed, so that's pretty nice. And now I believe I double out, or do I just get up my rocks? Oh, I double out into Rotom. Wow, I'm fired. Anyways, he has to go for U-turn here as I go for another Volt Switch. And Hydreigon's in. Now if this is Scarf, my best play is to go for Ice Shard with Weavile, as he does make the play into Victini, which is kind of unfortunate, because now I am forced to sack a Pokemon. Well, not yet, because I can do some nice maneuvering here with Rotom and Gliscor, get Rotom in, and then Gliscor in on the second one, because now Gliscor is going to outspeed the Victini and I can boost off damage. So I don't have to sack a Pokemon yet, and Gliscor is now back at full. Here I go to my Granbull because the Ice Punch I feel like is his play, and here I probably should have doubled into Gliscor, but I actually go Ferrothorn, and this is going to force me to sack a Pokemon to Victini, and it's going to be my Rotom, because if you look at it, Rotom doesn't do much that other Pokemon don't do. It's only useful for Gourgeist, really. And so now this gives me Gallade, which is going to be a bulk up, because you can't really stay in and recreate, because that would be kind of a throw at that point. And I go for the knockoff here. Hydreigon comes in, basically confirming Scarf. I go in Granbull on the Draco, and I'm going to double into my Gliscor on the Victini, just to preserve the differential, as now Gliscor cannot be beaten. Especially, you're going to see after this play that I make on this turn, turn 51. He's going to U-turn into this Lopunny, and I'm going to call that and go for Earthquake, and Gliscor is just going to win from here on, as there's nothing that Victini can do to kill Gliscor. I just roosted off. He only has like one more V-Create at this point, if I remember correctly, so yeah, that was his last one. And now I can just Earthquake into Ice Fang and finish off this game. Yeah, so 5-0 here. We went 3-0 in our round 2 pulls. He actually misses Draco, which didn't make a difference at all. And yeah, so moving on to the bracket round. So let's just go here. This is the round of 64 versus who's the best. Anyways, this is his team right here. He also has a Mega Lopunny, which means Again, Rocky Helmet Granbull is coming. The Jirachi, Tapu Fini, Crocodile, you can see the mons. He actually has triple unburden here, which is kind of interesting. Pretty fun. Thunderous is a pretty big threat versus me, since this is Thunder Eye, which means it outspeeds my medi gallade, so that makes it not a check. And even though it's a little bit weaker, it's still plenty strong enough to deal with my Pokemon. Anyways, let's get into the team I decided to bring. I have Trace Scarf, Rotom. Originally I had Life Orb on this build, but after building I realized I really needed the speed control that Scarf gives me. And this is going back to what I mentioned in the draft analysis, which is that Rotom is the only viable Scarfer on my team, which is kind of limiting in how I build. Because Life Orb Rotom, if you look at it, it one-hit KOs pretty much everything on his team besides Tapu Fini, which obviously I can just Volt Switch on. And yeah, so that would have been really nice to have in this game, but I am basically forced to bring Scarf for the Thunderous, specifically. Yeah, I also have Trick to help versus a potential like Calm Mind Jirachi, Calm Mind Fini. Just locking those things into moves is pretty nice, as it allows me to deal with them much easier. Next I have Sash Weavile, because his Stealth Rockers are pretty much all defogged on by Gliscor. Mainly Crocodile is what I had in mind. But yeah, so Sash Weavile gives me a check to Slurpuff, as I am countered, as well as a nice surprise KO on pretty much any physical attacker he has on his team, being like a low pony Crocodile, Scarf Jirachi if I wanted to risk the flinch, which I probably wouldn't. But yeah, so it's a nice lure. Allows me to not lose if my Ferrothorn with Chopperberry goes down. So I can use my Ferrothorn to check Lopunny, and then use my Sash Weavile to check Slurpuff. Just some combination of the two. Next up is my Licky, which is going to be max special defense with leftovers, knock off return, push protect. This is my Tapu Fini counter. It's oblivious, so there's literally nothing that Tapu Fini can do besides like Nature's Madness and then switch out. That's pretty nice. I 1v1 every single form of Fini, and knock off plus return is good coverage versus his entire team. Licky's pretty fat, so it's going to be pretty hard for him to break it. Thunderous, unless it goes for a Z-move, can't 2-hit KO Licky with Focus Blast. It's actually that fat. Anyways, next up is my Granbull, something that really appreciates the Wish Pass from Licky. Just max defense helmet because I don't really need any attack investment for anything in particular. This game, I have Player Off Earthquake, which is coverage versus his team. Roar, which allows me to get rid of a Slurpuff Sceptile Driftbloom that wants to set up on me. Like if he wants to belly drum up, then I can Roar, he wastes his Unburden, and he takes 25 after Citrus. So Slurpuff is basically neutered at that point. And then Super Fang, just in case I don't want to predict what's going to come in, I just want half, since he doesn't really have a ghost type that's viable. Driftbloom isn't unmon. Super Fang is pretty free in general. Next up is my Ferrothorn, which can Chockle Spadef with some attack investment. I forget what the attack actually does, I think. Yeah, I actually don't know. Anyways, Gyro Ball, Stealth Rock, Leech, and Protect. Protect is there so I can protect on HAK from Lopunny. Although, a lot of people versus me have been tending to run Drain Punch Lopunny, just to mitigate Protect, as well as always 1v1 Licky, because otherwise it would be a 50-50 versus Protect or HAK. Anyways, yeah, just standard Ferrothorn, gets up the rocks, and then we have Mamoswine Gliscor, once again Earthquake Ice Fang, and this is going to be a defogger because I don't really want Rock Set for my Sash Weavile, of course, used for longevity, Impish Nature, Spadef, pretty similar spread to what I used in the previous game. It takes Ice Punch if I'm in at full, as well as the Spadef is nice for the Tapu Fini. I want to like take a hit and just restall it. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the game. So here it is. So you can see he didn't bring the crocodile, which means Jirachi is going to be a stealth rocker. Pretty much guaranteed. Slurpuff is probably going to be belly drum, since it's insanely threatening versus my team. Sceptile, I'm not really sure. At team match, I'm expecting like Misty Seed with Unburden, thanks to the Tapu Fini's Misty Surge. The Thundurus should be the Z move TTM in my opinion. Lopunny is just going to be standard Lopunny. And Finny is actually going to be pretty interesting. You're going to see. Wait, no. Never mind. Anyways, I'm going to lead off with my Rotom here because it prevents rocks from the Jirachi. I'm going to go for Overheat turn 1 as he doesn't have a switch in besides Finny, which is not really switching to Rotom Heat. And he actually just sacks his Jirachi turn 1, so I'm definitely okay with that, as it means my Sash is always intact with weavile. And now he goes into, the Finny goes for HP Fire Protecting Parathorn, but now I have a Lucky, which is literally just here for that. We go for a Return, which is going to do 48 to this Thundurus. Now he's actually going to go for Focus Blast and miss, which is pretty lame in my opinion. But yeah, I go for Protect here, scouting for the Z move, and he just goes for Focus Blast again, kind of indicating he doesn't have it, and he misses another Focus Blast. So Licky just gets a free kill here versus the Thundurus, which is kind of annoying, honestly, especially because like I was really looking forward to this game, and just to have it go down like this is kind of annoying. Anyways, that's the game replay. Slurpuff is in, goes for Belly Drum as I have to go hard Pharaoh. It's my only play. And now I'm just going to go with the Gyro Ball as he goes for Drain Punch. I eat my Choco Berry and I knock him out with the Gyro. That's nice. And now Lopunny comes in. I could go for Protect, but if he goes for Sub, that could be bad as I'm not able to get an Intimidate off if he goes for a Sub. So I just go hard on my Grand Bull, which is a fine play. Anyways, I take 27 from the turn. So he predicted the Grand Bull, but it didn't really get him anywhere. And now I double out into my Rotom because honestly I was expecting a Sceptile in that situation. Or at least like not staying in with Lopunny. So Rotom is relatively free. I can go for the Volt Switch here as he goes Sceptile, reveals he's not Misty Seed. And now I just go into my weavile and go for the Ice Cold Crash. And he reveals Yache Berry, which is nice prep. Goes for Drain Punch, and if I wasn't Sash, that would have knocked out my weavile. But I am Sash, so I can do that. Now, from that damage, he's like max HP, and Ice Shard is not going to be able to knock him out. But he actually goes into Finny. He told me later that he just didn't calc and assumed that it killed, but it definitely didn't. But anyways, the Finny's in. He doubles out in his Lopunny on Lucky, which is a nice play, gathering some momentum, but at this point it's not going to be enough, as Grand Bull still has a few more switch-ins to Lopunny to go. And so I don't really lose anything in that situation. Play rough on Finny, and I believe this is where... no, never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself. Licky in on the Hydro Pump, and now I can just go safely for a Wish. And if you wanted to go Lopunny on my Licky, the Wish would be in the air, Grand Bull would be back up to full, basically. And so that's a completely fine play. I go for the knockoff here, knocking off the leftovers. And now I go for another Wish, because there's literally no reason not to. Lopunny's in, and now I have the safest Grand Bull of my life. As he goes for a Power Punch, and that is 6. Takes Helmet, and I'm basically back at full. I can go for a free play rough here on the Tapu Fini. And now here, I'm basically just going to speed up the game and predict the Lopunny, play rough, knock it out, and now Sceptile's in, but we know he's physical from the Drain Punch, so I can just go for the play rough and then eat any hit. +2 weak play does 44 to my Grand Bull, so definitely a very solid low point pick. Definitely proving its worth here. And now Licky is in on the Hydro Pump, does 20, and now I'm just going to be able to go for a return here. I get a crit, does 29, but it does not matter. Licky's going to wrap this game up with the returns. And yeah, it's going to be the first round of brackets. And yeah, let's just go right on into the next one, which is going to be the round of 32 versus Excellent Name. So yeah, here's his team. This is actually the first game of the stream. This game, I believe, was streamed by Jolt on the live stream for the tournament, so that's pretty nice, as it was a great game. And I really think you guys are all going to enjoy this game. I definitely did. But yeah, so into the team that I decided to build Banded Weavile, standard. I love Banded Weavile, it's so good. Just Pursuit. Now the main idea with this is that I can Pursuit trap the Mega Pidgeot, because no one in their right mind stays in with Mega Pidgeot on a Weavile, and if rocks are up, he's at 75, then Banded Pursuit will be able to knock him out on the switch. And I don't expect him to want to stay in on a Weavile versus when he has a Finny and a Ferrothorn to go out into, for pretty much free on Weavile. So Pursuit is definitely a play that could happen. And with Pursuit, Mega Pidgeot gone, Gallade actually goes ham with this particular set. Bulk Up, Drain, Ice, and Cement. So yeah, that is a huge threat with Pidgeot gone. But yeah, anyways, Rotom Heat is here. This is going to be pretty fat, more physically defensive than the last 15 I've faced, because you can see when V-Creates were doing a lot. I definitely wanted a little bit more physical defense to help out with that. What this does is it makes V-Create never a 3-hit KO after leftovers. So that's pretty nice. Volt Switch, Overheat, Will-O-Wisp, and Defog. Will-O-Wisp kind of threatens the Orlando T, which would otherwise have a pretty safe switch, as well as the Como-O. And yeah, Defog is there to get rid of hazards, as if he wants to hazard stack with Orlando T plus Ferrothorn, get some spikes going. I do want to have the option to defog, as Rocks plus Spikes really threatens my team with the chip damage. Anyways, 44 special attack probably does something. Yes, it means that Overheat always breaks a sub of a Como-O, and I did this because sub Belly Drum Como-O was a massive threat versus my team. Once it goes for sub, like if it gets a free sub versus my Rotom, goes for Belly Drum, gets a Salac Berry. My only counterplay is Ice Shard with Weavile. And if my Weavile goes down, or say he actually gets up a free sub for some reason, or like he Drain Punches and gets out of range of Ice Shard, then I would just lose on the spot to come over. So I definitely didn't want that to happen, so I wanted to be able to at least break the sub once with Rotom, and then if he wanted to Belly Drum, he wouldn't be able to sub again, so I can Volt Switch out into Weavile and be able to beat it that way. But anyways, yeah, that's why I have the special attack investment. The rest is just put into special defense to help versus the Mega Pidgeot. Next up is my Mega Gallade. I already went over this. It's fairly bulky, which means that I will be able to take, I believe, a V-Create at full from Scarf 15. I believe that's what it's for, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Yeah, I already went over the moveset. Gliscor is here, which is going to be Protect, Earthquake, Roost, and Toxic. So we have that nice Toxic Protect going. I'm not using sub over Roost in this game, although I probably could have. And it was definitely a consideration. I decided to go with Roost anyways, because this is going to be my main Victini switch-in. Because unless you Glaciate, this beats Victini. At least physical Victini is walled by V-Create into Protect, leaves me out of range of the next one. If he's Jolly. If he's Adamant, then I guess it's a roll, but it's still a roll in my favor. After Protect. Anyways, Toxic is here to hit the Mega Pidgeot and Orlando T, and then I can just Roost and Protect on those. Although, if they start setting up Work Up or Sword Stance, that can be pretty scary. Anyways, next up is my Ferrothorn, which can be almost max physically defensive. With Knockoff Power, Stealth Rock, and Leech Seed, this is the set that I really heavily considered switching out for something else, because this does give Como a free sub, which is super scary. But I really needed a rocker, Stealth Rock versus Victini, Mega Pidgeot, and like just in general, Stealth Rocks are just too nice to leave out. So I did take the risk of letting Como set up on my Ferrothorn in exchange for having rocks up. Anyways, yeah. Oh wait, I remember what the physical defense on Gallade is for. It's for +6 Ice Punch from Como. I actually tank that. So that's pretty impressive actually for Gallade's bulk. Taking +6 Ice Punch. Because if he was Belly Drum sub, I would assume it would be Drain Punch and Ice Punch, because otherwise he loses to Gliscor 1v1. So yeah. Anyways, next up is my Licky Licky, which is going to be Ice Flame with mixed defense, with Wish Protect, because Ferrothorn, Rotom Heat both really appreciate the Wish. And then Ice Beam for Lando T, Flamethrower for Ferrothorn, so he doesn't get completely free hazards versus me. And yeah. So I am walled by Victini and Finny, but that's the main reason why I have Power Whip on Ferrothorn, is because Licky Licky can't necessarily 1v1 Finny that easily. It's leftovers, so I can Wish into Ferrothorn, fear absolutely nothing from Finny, and just go for Leech Seed or Power Whip, or even like knock off his own Ferrothorn, Earth Rocks, that sort of thing, whatever I wanted to do in the situation. Anyways, that's going to be 2. Let's get right into the game, which is going to be here. Let me just switch sides real quick. Now here, looking at the matchup, his team is pretty threatening versus mine. Weavile actually goes in pretty hard. Aside from the Tapu Fini, which of course I do have the Licky Licky and Ferrothorn to always deal with. And in terms of offensive threats, Lando T, Como and Victini all are pretty big threats, especially with like Rocks Up. Victini with Rocks Up I do kind of have to sack. Anyways, let's get right into the game. I had Gliscor versus Landorus. Now I didn't want him to knock off my Toxicorp turn 1, so I go for the Protect as he reveals the rocks. And now I'm just going to go for the Toxic as he Swords Dances. And here, this is pretty scary. I actually do not Protect here because I figured he would never throw off his Z move here. I live a Stone Edge. And by the way, the set I'm expecting is like SD Rocks, EQ, and Z Stone Edge, as I do have a Rotom Heat that could potentially wall other Landos. But anyways, so here, I actually go for Protect, as he switches on into Finny. I don't really know why, but, well, at the time I didn't know why, but you're going to see why in a bit. Licky Licky is in on the Finny. Crit Surf reveals he's max special attack. He goes into his Landorus on my Wish, and here he's going to make a really questionable play, but one that really works out for him. The thing is, like, Z Lando can knock out my Licky Licky from this range, so I definitely wanted to Protect, but he actually goes for the Swords Dance, and that's really scary because it basically forces me to sack my Licky Licky, which opens the door for his Tapu Fini, but I didn't really have another play there, as he reveals Explosion, which makes sense why he didn't want to go for it on Gliscor with Protect. He gets the turn wrong, then he just gets absolutely nothing out of his Lando, and bringing him later. Since I didn't Ice Beam, he did actually get a kill with his Lando, so that's good for him. Here, I actually stay in with my Rotom, which is pretty questionable on my end. I did want the Defog to go off because he sacked his Rocker, and Rocks are pretty bad versus me, or bad for me, so I wanted the Defog as well as I thought he would Hidden Power Fire, predicting my Ferrothorn for sure. But he did actually make the safe Surf play, and now I'm actually just going to Volt Switch in case he wants to switch out, and he actually does. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. So like with that play, he kind of confirms that he's Scarf Finny, because the only reason you wouldn't just like attack there is if you were scared of me going Ferrothorn and getting up hazards as you were locked in the Surf. So yeah, so probably a choice locked Finny as he goes Victini, which gives me my Gliscor, and that's a free Earthquake. As he goes into Finny, takes 30, and here I'm actually just going to Protect to see what he locks himself into, as Ferrothorn comes in, and I can't really do much to this, but he can't really do that much to me. What I want to do is get in my Rotom Heat on a turn that he doesn't want to do anything, get a little bit of leftovers back, and threaten it with the Overheat. At this point, I don't really need to do that, as he just throws up a Leech Seed, and now I believe I go into my own Ferrothorn on the Finny. Wow, I'm fine. Anyways, here I just double into Gliscor. Wow, incredible plays. Anyways, he goes for Hurricane, gets the Confusion, but I do get off the Toxic. Now here, I am actually going to risk the Confusion, go for Protect, get off a little bit more recovery as he goes into his Finny. But now, I definitely don't want to risk it here, as I do have a Ferrothorn, and Surf does 14 to me. So that's pretty nice here. I believe I just go for these Stealth Rocks. No, I go for Knockoff on Victini. Wow, I'm actually amazing. Anyways, Victini comes in, I go sack my Rotom Heat to the Blue Flare, which reveals he's special, which means Gliscor is not a check, which means I have to go Weavile. I could Pursuit, but that gives Como a free sub if he is Belly Drum, and at this point I don't have that much counterplay to it, so I can't really Pursuit in that situation. So I go into Gliscor on the T-Wave, and now I Earthquake as he Leech Seeds, and that's fine with me. I did get a little bit more chip than I would have otherwise, and now I go into my own Ferrothorn, blocking the Leech Seed, as keeping Ferrothorn low is really nice for my Weavile. Here I get up my Rocks. Here I revealed Rocks Lando, so he's not going to be Rocks on Ferrothorn. And here I go for a Leech Seed on the Como, and this effectively prevents it from setting up a sub in Belly Drum. And I go on a Gallade, which is the only play, because if he Belly Drums, the Leech Seed would activate his Solid Berry, and Gallade is the only thing that takes a hit. So unless I wanted to go hard Weavile on the Como, which obviously is not the play, then Gallade is the only play that really covers all options. He reveals that he Specs though, which is much easier to deal with than a Belly Drum set, as that was like a main fear of mine going into the game, but that has been alleviated, and now I can go for Zen Headbutt for pretty much a guaranteed KO. He goes Ferrothorn getting some Iron Barbs, but I'm able to 2-hit KO that with Drain Punch, and now I go into my Ferrothorn on the Finny. And here, what do? Do I Leech Seed? No, I doubled a Weavile. Amazing. Wow, I'm so good. And that basically gives me a kill, because you can't really switch into Eco on the knockoff, as he would lose his Specs and wouldn't be able to get Gliscor, I don't think. Anyways, I go for the Protect here, but I think I missed a turn here. Yeah, knocked off, killed the Victini, Como comes in, so Tabu Fini came in, and he doubled to Como as I went into Gliscor. Now, I went into Gliscor because there's a 0% chance you put Surf there versus a Weavile, and if you're going in the back, you either Moonblast, predicting you want to stay in, or you Pin Power Fire, predicting Ferrothorn if you are to stay in, and any switch favors Gliscor. So I Protect on the Como seeing he locks himself into the Dragon move. This gives me the Ferrothorn, but he makes a nice double into Pidgeot, and now I do die to Heat Wave. It's a roll, but I don't want to risk it here, so I go to my Gliscor, which should be able to take 2 Hurricanes after they Protect. It actually confuses me here too. So here I'm actually just going to sack my Gallade, as now I can go into my Weavile with Icicle Shard, or Icicle Crash. Yeah, that's the move. And I either get damage on Finny or kill. Both are equally valuable. And so Finny is now at 29. I go to my Ferrothorn here, and this is probably the biggest play. I actually get up my Rocks here, which is going to be very instrumental in this late game situation. And yeah, so he goes into his Como as I Leech Seed. And now I'm going to go out into my Gliscor, as I should be able to take a Flamethrower, which obviously is this play. And with Leech Seed and Poison Heal plus Protect, I will be able to get back to a reasonable amount of HP, but he does crit me with the Flamethrower. But honestly, that's fine, because I do have my Weavile, and my Weavile can just click Icicle Crash and pick up a kill. Now, Finny comes in, and I cover every play by going hard into Ferrothorn. He doubles into Como. He does predict my Ferrothorn nicely, but at this point, Ice Shard will sweep him because of the Rock's damage on Finny. So, yeah, shout out to Jake. Ice Shard on the Komolo, it does like 52 min, so you don't have to worry about rolls or anything, and Ice Shard is able to pick off the remaining 2 Pokemon, and that was by far the best game that I had in this tournament. It was really solid, made some really nice plays, and so did he. Like, where was it? I'm trying to find the play. Here. Farafone on Finny, and a double out into weavile on the Victini, which forces the KO, basically. So that was a huge play that really gained me some offensive momentum, and yeah. So that was just a really great game versus excellent name. And let's go on to the next one, which is going to be versus Turkey. And this is the round of 64. So let's pull up the matchup here. And as you can see, he has another Z-Lando T. All sorts of stuff. And let's just get right into the team that I decided to film. Let's see how long this video is. 1 hour 40 minutes so far. So yeah, it's going to be a long video. Gallade is here. Close combat. There's have Ice Punch and Swords Dance. Max speed. This speed type Latios, as well as outspeeds pretty much everything else besides Greninja. So this, if I get +2, is able to really put in a lot of work. +2 Poison Jab versus Clefable is going to do a lot of damage. It's a roll to KO, I think it's like a 30% roll. And if I just go for 2 Poison Jabs, actually I don't know if that's 30%, that sounds a little bit low. Anyways, it's a roll to 2 at KO at +2, or it's a roll to Oko, Clefable, at +2. Yeah. Anyways, Gallade is just SD. Ferrothorn, I'm just going to put the team like this. You can actually see all the sets. Ferrothorn's going to be Leech Protect, Power Whip, and Stealth Rock. I'm fully walled by Shaman, but I can get up Stealth Rock versus that thing, and I do have my Licky over here to switch into Shaman pretty much indefinitely. But anyways, yeah, getting up rocks is very nice this game, as it pressures his team pretty significantly. The Greninja can't come in forever. Lando T gets chipped. Everything gets chipped. Chip damage is very nice versus his team, as it puts things closer and closer to being banded weavile food. So yeah, as well as like Gallade. Getting chipped for Gallade is pretty nice. Again, banded weavile, top 1 weavile set for sure. Just dual stab with Pursuit. I can potentially Pursuit the Latios, which would be pretty nice. Icicle Crash does a lot to Clefable. Greninja doesn't want to switch in even though it resists. It's still taking a lot. I want the Ice Shard just in case Lando T is like Scarf or Rock Polish. And then, yeah, the only thing that really takes hits comfortably is Mega Aggron, which doesn't really have recovery unless he has Wish Clefable, which I don't know if he can fit Wish on his Clefable in this matchup. So that's kind of that. And once again, we're bringing Mamoswine and Gliscor, Earthquake Ice Fang, Swords Dance, and Roost with a lot of special defense. This allows me to take hits from the Pyroar, the Latios, the Clefable, and the Shaman. Shaman can't really beat me unless it's HP Ice, although if he is slower than me, my Roost will remove my Flying type, and Seed Flare will do way too much damage, so I can't really beat it if it's a fat Shaman, but ironically, if it's offensive, I deal with it better. Yeah. SD is here to not lose to Clefable. If he is like Moonblast Flamethrower, which I believe is the best set versus me, I can SD up and pressure it to not sweep me. Anyways, next up is my Manaphy, which is going to be Waterium, Double Dance, Calm Mind, and Tail Glow. This is because if you look at his things that are faster than Manaphy, they're pretty much all special attackers, so if I want to go for a Calm Mind, and I don't really need +3, I only need +1 special attack to do the job, and I can also get some special defense as well, tank hits from Pyroar, Latios, Greninja, and just do a little bit more damage that way. And like, since that I get more hits off. Anyways, next up is Licky Licky. This is going to be another Swords Dance mod. I have like 3 Swords Dancers this game. Anyways, Wish Protect, Swords Dance, Return. Because if you look at his team, his only like normal resists don't really beat Licky Licky to begin with, so I can set up to +6 versus Mega Aggron, or even just like Wish and he's forced to roar, and in that case something else gets the Wish, and that could be nice for me, depending on what he pulls. Anyways, that's going to be the team. I actually ended up building this team in about 7 minutes, I think, because I was watching games on stream, and then it was like 12:09 something, and Jolt put in the announcements that Me vs. Turk is happening at 12:15. So obviously I did build very quickly, but this is the team that we ended up with. So here's the match versus Turk, and we're just going to get right into it, as this team is pretty like basic to break down. It was going to be Calm Mind. This could be Spikes, but probably not. This is going to be Stealth Rock Z move, most likely. Aggron's just fat. Latios could be Colderberry for Weavile. Shaman could be Yachi for Weavile. I've seen a lot of Yachi berries in this tour, so I wouldn't be surprised if we decided to bring that as well. Anyways, there we go. My Ferrothorn was the Aggron. This is free rocks for both of us. And I think I like rocks up versus him a little bit more than he likes rocks up versus me, although it's kind of hard to say. Here I go on my Gliscor, and here I'm going to Roost just scouting. That could have gone really badly, because I'm actually faster than this. If he Seed Flared, that would have been really bad, but he didn't, thankfully. Only used for Leech Seed, and now I'm going to go into my Ferrothorn on the Lando T. So here I'm actually just going to go for a Leech Seed as he Swords Dances. And I'm just going to go for Protect here, I think, on the Earthquake. And now I'm actually doing Power Whip on the Continental Crush, because I felt like he would throw off the Z move trying to catch the Gliscor. Since I already revealed I was a fast Gliscor, I could be creeping Landers, which of course I am creeping Adamant Landers in this game. So I did predict him to do that, and now he's going to switch on to Shaman on my Protect, which is a fair play. Just gives me no leftovers, as Shaman does wall me. They Protect for even more leftovers. Here it kind of reveals he doesn't have HP Fire, but it doesn't matter, I can't stay in anyways, as I am forced out into Licky Licky. As he Leech Seeds, he knows I'm forced out. He already saw all 4 moves. But now, I'm able to just go for the Wish, I believe. No, I double in the Ferrothorn. Incredible. And now, Latios is either like at 1% after rocks or dies. And as I go Gliscor on the Earthquake, no one clicks Stone Edge there. And now I can just go for Ice Fang on the Granja. He makes a nice play. But I do have my Ferrothorn here, and he goes for Surf and reveals he's actually Spikes Granja. So that's a nice set versus me, as it really helps pressure my Licky Licky a little bit more. Anyways, now I'm going to go into my Weavile on the Shaman double, and I'm just going to go for the knockoff, since I know he's going to be Yachi Berry and I don't want to mess with like missing around. Anyways, here he's going to switch out his Aggron, as I'm in range of rocks, and damage on Aggron is really nice. I actually don't have defog, so I'm just going to take my chip and sack my Weavile. And I'm going to go on my Manaphy because I can just throw off the Z move, and it doesn't have a huge downside because Latios can come in, yes. But I have my Ferrothorn here, as he actually throws off the Thunder. That does a lot of damage to like a resisted hit on a Ferrothorn. So here I'm actually going to go for Power Whip, predicting the Shaman to want to come in, and I do get that play right. Now he goes out into the Fable. I'm going to go on to my Licky Licky, since I am SD for turn. I'm able to beat this thing 1v1. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal... actually, I think I just go for Wish here. And now I'm going to Swords Dance up. He actually predicts my Ferrothorn double, and gets the burn, which is really annoying. But at least I can't get Toxic, so it's not all bad. Anyways, I'm actually just going to go for the Wish here. And I'm just going to return the Aggron for like 6% at +2. Yeah, 6%, as he roars me out. And he actually gets me into my Ferrothorn, which is like best case scenario. And now I can just go for a free Leech Seed. His only immunity is Fable, which I do have a Licky Licky and a Gliscor for. At this point, I'm still playing around with the possibility of him having like Ice Beam, 3 attacks, the Fable, which would be able to beat my Gliscor. but the way he's playing it at this point, I'm not really sure that he has it. Anyways, I go into my Ferrothorn. I thought he would roar there because it does block the recovery to my Licky. I wanted to potentially get more back out into Licky to receive my own Rich, as well as like Ferrothorn kind of covered it if he didn't want to roar anyways. Anyways, I go into my gliscor here. Now I'm going to Roost Scout him for the Ice Beam, because if you have it, you go hard for it here, as he doesn't. So that's pretty nice for me, the knowledge that he doesn't have Ice Beam. And now I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, as he could have gone into Greninja there, which would have been a completely fair play. He goes into it now, as I believe I predict that I go for Earthquake, because I'm just that good. And now, I believe I just go into Licky on the Hidden Power Fire, and yeah, I'm amazing. Anyways, now I can just wish back up my Licky as he just sacks his Gren and allows me to get back up to basically full on my Licky, which is very nice of him. If I were him, I definitely would have like switched out into Aggron immediately, save this as Death Fodder to rocks, as staying in on Hidden Power Fire is only helping me. But anyways, Aggron's in, I'm just going to go for Return to have a clean 4% as he roars me out into Manaphy. This is pretty nice because I can just go for a Surf here. He goes into his Latios, and that's perfectly fine with me, as Thunder is not able to knock me out. This is not his Zmon. So the only way it doesn't really work out is if he pairs me or crits, and obviously I have a chance of him missing, so I just take that. Go for the Surf on the Clefable, get off some chip, and now I can go into my Gallade. Poison Jab is a roll in my favor to knock him out, as well as I live Moonblast guaranteed. So it's pretty safe play, and now Gallade just wins, he forfeits, because even if Orlando doesn't go down to rocks, it's at 1%, it's not Scarf. Aggron is going to be at 6% after rocks, and Greninja dies to rocks, so Gallade definitely just cleans up this game no matter what. And yeah, so moving on to the top 8 game. And this is going to be versus IHLP. Now this guy drafted 7 Mons, no ground resist, and no hazard removal. So overall, not what you would call an S-rank draft, but he's made it work so far, and yeah. The team that I decided to build is SD 3 attacks Gallade with Poison Jab for the Clefable, close combat for pretty much everything else, and Zen for the Amoonguss, so definitely a nice threat versus him. Ferrothorn is going to be standard Spikes, Leech, Protect, Power Whip. I decided to go with Power Whip over Gyro Ball because Clefable, if he's running like minus speed, walls Gyro Ball anyways, which is definitely something he could do. And Protect is very nice because I can protect on HJK, I can protect to get more leftovers and Leech Seed recovery, so it's just a nice set versus him in general. Notably, it's going to be Scarf with Trick, as it's my only real way of beating Calm Mind Clefable if he has the right set versus me, like Ice, Fire, Calm Mind Clef. This is my only counterplay to that. Granville here is the Lopunny check. His helmet max defense. It also deals with Mamoswine decently well. And then, yeah, Thunder Wave is just a good move. And then Roar to phase out like a Calm Mind Clefable or like Cosmic Power, since he has run Cosmic Power in the past. Anyways, next up is my Gliscor with Poison Heal, Earthquake because he has no ground resist, Roost, Swords Dance, and Stealth Rocks. So I can fit Rocks and SD on the same set. That's pretty nice. And then I have SD Facade Licky, as I'm going to be using this as like my Scald Absorber for Vaporeon. If I get burned, then Facade is able to actually be a threat versus him. That's pretty nice. Anyways, let's get into the game, which is going to be right here. And yeah, so you can see he didn't bring Vaporeon, which means Mamoswine or Jirachi is going to be the rocker. Not that Vaporeon would be the rocker, but I'm just saying. Ground could be Spikes, as well as Toxic Spikes, which I'm actually going to play turn 1 for you right here. he's going to set up the Toxic Spikes turn 1, and that's pretty bad for me, as I didn't have a ground poison on my draft, and I was actually fortunate not to face Toxic Spikes up until now, but now I kind of have to. And I just set up Spikes with my Ferrothorn, as he has no immunity to Spikes, it hits everything. As he reveals Hidden Power Fire, but thanks to my special defense investment, I'm able to avoid the 2-hit KO Psych. I get crit turn 3, use my Ferrothorn. I went for Leech Seed there, which chip damage on the Greninja would have been very valuable, as you're going to see later. But anyways, here I'm going to go into my Licky, and I'm just going to go straight for the Facade, get off a lot of damage on this Greninja, and now I'm just going to go for the Wish. Just get that in the air, and here. This is kind of like, okay, Jirachi's in. I figured like he would probably want to U-turn if he was like on a Choice Scarf onto my Rotom Heat, and I feel like Mamoswine would be the rocker versus me. I feel like it definitely keeps them up easier versus my potential default Gliscor. But anyways, so predicting like either the U-turn or like just the attack, which Licky would soak up anyways, I just go for the Facade, as he reveals the Calm Mind, which I definitely was not expecting. I still do 14%, but that does reveal he's max HP. So here I'm going to go into my Rotom as my only play. I Calm Minds again, and now Overheat does 46, which if it does half of that roll, it's going to be 23. And Showdown kind of rounds up, so he could be at 22 point something anyways. And Overheat with 46 is actually the absolute minimum roll versus max HP Jirachi, so unless he's running specially defensive Calm Mind Jirachi, he will almost definitely go down to this next Overheat. If it hit, which obviously it didn't. And so I lose my Rotom and my Ferrothorn by turn 9 due to halves. So that's really unfortunate. I'm forced out of my Gallade to revenge this with the close combat, but the problem with that is I lost my Water Resist. So Greninja could have come in there with Torrent boosted Hydro Pump and picked up a KO, but he decided to go into Mega Lopunny instead for whatever reason. Really don't know why, as I do have a Grand Bull to switch in, and kind of abuse this thing with Spikes plus Rocky Helmet, although he does get the Poison, so Grand Bull only can really switch in one more time on this thing, if that. So I actually double out in the Gliscor, as I don't want to take any extra toxic damage. And now I get up my rocks as the Mamoswine comes in. Now if Greninja was Leech Seeded, it would die to hazards at this point, but since it's not, it doesn't. It's self-explanatory. Now, I'm basically forced out into Grand Bull. While I do need this for Lopunny, I can't sack anything else either, so it's really like stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. And so I'm just going to go for the play rough and sack my Grand Bull for damage on the Mamoswine. He reveals he's not Life Orb, which is pretty nice. But now I'm forced out into Gallade, and I am forced to Zen, because close combat would put me at -1, which means I'll get revenged by literally everything on his team. So now Clefable comes in, takes 30 from hazards. Don't run unaware, Clefable, please. Anyways, I bring in Gliscor here. Now here, I just go for the Earthquake, get a crit, and now expecting him to soft blow, I go for Roost myself. And I thought about predicting the Greninja switch here and going for Earthquake again, but the thing is, even if I do that, my Gliscor is damaged, and then Lopunny just comes in and literally sweeps my entire team, because Gallade is in range, Gliscor would be in range of Ice Punch, and Licky. If he's HJK, I could protect on that, but overall it's just not a favorable situation for me to be in. So I am forced to Roost even if I predict Greninja to come in, as it's just my only play. And now my only play is sacking Gallade, because I have no Water Resist. Licky's the only thing that can take a hit and actually kill it. So I just go into it here. He's Torrent boosted Hydro, which is going to be doing a lot. And he's actually Z-Gren, if you remember from seeing the team, so I protect, starting for the Z move, but he's probably Sash, since he did lead with it. Anyways, I'm going to try to get up to as much health as possible in my Licky before taking it out. This gives me the best chance of actually beating his team. But no, he's going to flinch my Licky Licky once. And let's just keep a count on how many times he flinches my Licky Licky, right? I believe we're only up to 1 at this point. Yeah, 1. So I get my wish. And yeah, so is this 2? 2? Alright. Let's see if I can count this high. And he gets 2 flinches, I go for wish. Protect is the only play. He could at any time go into the opening here, but that would be a pretty massive choke on his end. If I did pick Facade, as then Licky Licky would literally win, as well as gliscor. But yeah, I end up wishing here, protect again, and yeah, he's just going to keep spamming Dark Pulse. At this point, I'm figuring my only way of winning is to get Licky Licky up to a high-ish amount of HP, and then get a 50-50 versus HJK opening. If I protect on HJK, then he goes down after hazard damage and the recoil. Here he actually dodges, or he misses a Hydro Pump. So this is like best case scenario for me. I can go for the Facade here, but he flinches me. I would have ended up at 88%, but no. So that's 3 flinches. I'll go for the Wish here. And I believe I just protect, trying to stay as healthy as possible. And yeah. Goes for another Dark Pulse. I go for Wish, and now I believe I just go for Facade. Yeah, I knock out the Ninja. And now my Licky Licky is still at like 80%, yep. So if he is HJK roll playing, this is a 50-50. I don't go for Protect, and he actually reveals Drain Punch, which is GG. And here, it's even bigger GG because he reveals the Power Punch. Now, if he wasn't Power Punch, Gliscor had a chance to live the Ice Punch after rocks, but since he is Power Punch, I have no such chance, and now my win con is him not having Ice Punch versus Gliscor, which is not going to happen, and I do actually lose to IHLP. And yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, especially like losing Ferrothorn versus the HP Fire Crit, and then losing Rotom to a missed Overheat. Those were both like pretty big. I would say the Rotom one mattered even more, to be honest, because say I had a Scarf Rotom here. Say I had one. Yeah. I guess like it would be in range of rocks, but like in that case, yeah, I guess it would be dead to rocks. But even then, like, I would still have a Rotom to sack. I wouldn't have to sack my Gallade or like my Grand Bull to the downside. It would be a completely different game, and I feel like I could definitely have won this game if I did not get hacks in those first 2 turns. But you know, that is the game we played. Like, I definitely patched this guy literally to hell. So I guess that's my payback. And funny thing is, this guy with no ground resist, no hazard removal, and 7 mons, he actually ended up winning the whole tournament. So congratulations to this guy. But yeah, there's not really much else I can really say. So yeah, we ended up getting top 8 in this tournament, so pretty respectable finish. And as for my team, I did mention earlier, I don't like how Rotom P is the only viable Scarfer, and running Stealth Rocks and Spikes is kind of hard to do. But overall, I think it was a pretty solid draft. Grand Bull and Licky Licky definitely added a lot to the team, even though I mostly only brought Manaphy and weavile over them. I think Grand Bull came mostly only to Mega Opening games, and Licky Licky actually came to every bracket round game, but 0 pools games, so that's pretty interesting. Anyways, that's going to be all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.